Hello, everyone. I'm Governor John Carney. Thank you for joining us on this signing of our annual proclamation designated February as Teen Dating Violence Prevention and Awareness Month. We have guests with us today who are actively involved in preventing and addressing teen dating violence and creating awareness. We have Chief Judge Michael Newell from Family Court. Judge Newell, thanks for the work that you and your judges do. Probably the hardest work that anyone in the judiciary has to do. Very difficult and challenging situations. Our Attorney General is here. General Jennings, thanks for joining us, and thank you for the work that you and your prosecutors do with respect to these issues. Secretary Susan Bunting, the Secretary of the Department of Education, really where there's so much interaction and education that goes on with our teens in our state and raising awareness to this problem. And then we have Sue Ryan, who's the Executive Director of the Coalition Against Domestic Violence, just a force of nature herself, doing so much in combating domestic violence. Sue, we appreciate the work that you do, the volunteers, our law enforcement agencies, the tremendous work that they do with a very difficult problem under the circumstances of the COVID-19 pandemic. We know that we have greater tension within the household and with families, and maybe not as much reporting that's going on. And so it's really a difficult set of circumstances for each of us. Today, I'll sign the proclamation, as I said, designating February a Teen Dating Violence Prevention and Awareness Month. I'll read that at the end, but first, let's hear from those that have joined us. I forgot Pam, our sign expert for the deaf and hard of hearing. Thanks, Pam, once again for being with us and translating for the deaf and hard of hearing. Chief Judge Newell.
Thank you, Governor Carney, and good afternoon. First, I want to thank Governor Carney for once again hosting this important awareness event and proclamation signing. Governor Carney, you've demonstrated remarkable leadership for our state during the pandemic and in the challenge to reduce and hopefully eliminate domestic and teen dating violence. In a quote attributable to President John F. Kennedy, he said, quote, "When written in Chinese, the word crisis is composed of two characters. One represents danger and the other represents opportunity," end quote. These awareness events are important opportunities to address the dangers that intimate partner violence and teen dating violence pose to our society. The Department of Education prepares an annual statewide summary report of incidents of dating violence and sexual assault. Not surprisingly, the number of reported incidents is down due to the pandemic restrictions and the departure from in-person education. But I will not go into any statistical analysis for fear that I could put you to sleep, but also not to tread on Dr. Bunting's comments. For me, the alarming information that came out of the report is that for the period of July 1, 2019, through June 30th, 2020, over half of the total reported incidents took place in elementary and middle schools, with 13% of the total taking place in elementary schools. We have continued educational and outreach programs for our students and mandatory reporter training for educators. We must continue to increase these efforts because we know that teen dating violence is underreported. In a recent study published by the Journal of Family Violence, the question was posed whether domestic violence is a learned behavior. While the question seems to be simple and straightforward, we can oversimplify it, since there are other contributing factors such as childhood neglect, psychological maltreatment, abuse, and substance abuse that all contribute to this public health crisis. But it demonstrates that with effort, we can change and eliminate this pervasive public health problem. We need to persist in our training, education, and outreach, and by promoting healthy, respectful relationships. On behalf of the members of the Domestic Violence Coordinating Council, I want to thank the educators, advocates, the wellness centers, and supporting staff for the work that they have done and continue to do. We as the DVCC stand with you in your effort to prevent and address teen dating violence so we can stop it before it starts. Thank you. Have a good afternoon. Governor Carney, back to you.
Thank you, Judge Knoll. Thank you for the work of the council. Very important addressing a critical issue in our state. Secretary Bunting, thanks for joining us today, and thanks for the work of the department.
Thank you, Governor. It is an honor to join you today for this important proclamation. If we reflect on the teen years, we may have the mistaken impression that this is a carefree time of life. However, the statistics besmear that image, since we now know that before adulthood, 1 in every 3 teens will experience physical, sexual, or emotional abuse at the hand of someone with whom they have a relationship. Dating, violence, and sexual assault disproportionately affect teens and young adults, and sexual minority groups and some racial and ethnic groups are especially affected by all forms of violence. By learning how to develop healthy relationships, such abuse can be prevented. During their preteen and teen years, we must collectively enable our youth to hone the skills needed to create and support positive interactions. Therefore, this annual month to raise awareness is extremely important because we have an obligation to educate and empower our state's youth. In addition, we adults need continuing education. We must ensure that we are listening to our youth and letting them feel the trust and respect that they need in order to share what they might be going through. In short, we have the responsibility to facilitate their finding their voices and to then listen to those voices. We also must help families understand the dangers their teens may be facing and signs to look for, and how to help them when they discover that there are concerns. Reducing teen dating violence will take all of us working together, and this effort begins with awareness. So thank you for the proclamation, Governor, and back to you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Thank you for the good work of the department in this area, and also all the efforts in education in schools across our state to be trauma informed. And we know that dating violence does create that kind of trauma that will interfere with a student's ability to learn and to enjoy the teen years, as you say. So really important work going on in our state to address trauma, to address teen dating violence. And this February is a month that we set aside to bring attention to all of these issues and to help our students address these problems. Attorney General Jennings, thanks for joining us, and thank you for the good work of your prosecutors and your team working with law enforcement on these issues.
Thank you, Governor Carney. And let me just start by also thanking Chief Judge Knoll, Secretary Bunting, Sue Ryan, Pam, and all of the advocates for bringing awareness to this vitally important issue. Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month provides us an opportunity to heighten awareness about the importance of our teenagers and our youth to speak out when they experience some form of dating violence. Dating violence among teens is unfortunately more common than we think. Nearly 1 in 3 young people experience some form of physical or sexual abuse. And teenagers experience the highest rate of rape and sexual assault in our nation. 25% of teenage girls in high school have been abused physically or sexually. Dating violence against marginalized communities is even more prevalent. 43% of LGBTQ+ youth reported being victims of physical dating violence. This is a very hard subject to talk about. Violence in any situation is unacceptable, and we need to shine a light on it, especially when it is affecting our children. If you know of someone experiencing some type of dating violence, help them speak out. Encourage them to reach out to a trusted friend, a teacher, parent, guidance counselor, therapist, or mentor. Let them know about resources that are available in this state. The National Domestic Violence Hotline offers a free 24/7 confidential hotline. The number is 800-799-SAFE 7233. 800-799-7233. The YWCA offers a 24/7 rape crisis hotline. That number is 800-773-8570. 800-773-8570. And the Department of Justice is here to help. We can be reached at 302-577-8500, 577-8500. The most important thing I can impart to you today is what's behind Sue Ryan, who will speak next, and that is, you are not alone. We are all here to help guide you through. And we are here as your voice when you need us. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you, Attorney General Jennings, and you're exactly right. That is fundamentally the message, that our teens are not alone. Those data are staggering and underscore the need, heightened need for prevention and awareness, and to let all of our teens know that they aren't alone. Sue Ryan, thank you for your great work. Thank you for the enthusiasm that you bring to it, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Governor, Chief Judge Newell, Dr. Bunting, and Attorney General Jennings. Thank you for your words today, and thank you for the work that all of you do every day to keep teens safe. I am so grateful that the proclamation includes the word prevention. February is Teen Dating Violence Awareness and Prevention Month. Teen dating violence can be prevented. The research and the facts show that we can engage in efforts to reduce the risk factors and to increase the protective factors that underlie teen dating violence. Providing education on healthy relationships, increasing community connectedness and supportive social networks, offering economic opportunities and employment, addressing family violence, fostering policies that promote family financial security, all of these efforts have an impact. The amazing strength of prevention efforts is that when we address one root cause of violence, we inevitably positively impact multiple vulnerable populations. I'll give you an example. When we address harmful gender-based norms, those harmful stereotypes that are controlling, we are addressing a risk factor that underlies child maltreatment, teen dating violence, intimate partner violence, sexual violence, and youth bullying. This is what the research tells us and what our work tells us. Across the state in schools and service agencies, advocates are working with teens and having an impact. There is an ongoing and pressing need to enhance this system collaboration to provide safe, confidential intervention and prevention services to teens. I want to thank the schools, the courts, and our community advocates for the work that you do every day to keep teens safe. And finally, to those who are victims of teen dating violence, as Attorney General Jennings has highlighted, and as Governor has highlighted, please know that you are not alone. We are here to help. Thank you. Back to you, Governor.
Thank you very much, Sue. And normally when we sign this proclamation, it's in my conference room and we're surrounded by the folks that are on the front lines doing the work. Whether they work for each of your agencies, whether they're teachers and counselors in schools, whether they're social workers working with police departments, whether they're law enforcement officers, whether they're prosecutors or employees of the court, they're all working to raise awareness and to effectuate the goal of prevention. And so to all those, thank you for the great work that they do. And now it's my privilege as governor to sign and read this proclamation, which is an observance of Teen Dating Violence Prevention and Awareness Month. whereas dating violence is a pattern of abusive and aggressive behaviors such as physical, mental, emotional, and sexual abuse, as well as cyber abuse and stalking used to exert power and control over a dating partner. And whereas high school students who experience physical violence in a dating relationship are more likely to use drugs and alcohol, are at a greater risk of suicide, and are much more likely to carry patterns of abuse into future relationships. And whereas 1 in 3 teens in the United States will experience physical, sexual, or emotional abuse by someone they are in a relationship with before they become adults. And whereas according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, only 33% of teens ever tell anyone about the abuse, to go to Attorney General's point there. And 81% of parents surveyed either believe teen dating violence is not an issue or admit that they do not know if it's an issue. And whereas by providing young people with education about healthy relationships, building relationship skills, and by changing attitudes that support violence, we recognize that dating violence can be prevented. And whereas we must work together, all the various agencies and folks that work on the front lines, to create a world where every teen can live free of dating and sexual violence in their homes, their schools, colleges, universities, and in their communities. Now, therefore, we, John Carney, Governor, Bethany Hall, Long, Lieutenant Governor, do hereby declare February 2021 as Teen Dating Violence Prevention and Awareness Month in the state of Delaware, and urge all Delawareans to support efforts in their communities and schools and in their own families to empower our young people to develop healthy relationships throughout their lives and to prevent and respond to teen dating violence. Let us recommit once again this month, to ensuring all people who may be in abusive relationship have access and support, and that they are not alone. Our Lieutenant Governor has already signed it. And now, so have I. And again, I want to thank those of you who are working to prevent teen dating violence and awareness in our state.